Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, definitely. So आज तो बहुत सुबह सुबह में आ गया. So how your day starts in a normal day?
So I get up in the morning and I usually start with yoga or exercise. I don't do a lot of heavy workout because I feel scared I'll become too thin. But I like being healthy. I like being fit. So it's something which I've started from when I was a child, and my parents have always encouraged me to be healthy, to exercise, and it always makes me feel very fresh when I go to work or when I have to study or research. So that's how I start, and then I have good breakfast with my family. We talk, we discuss, and then everyone starts getting ready to go to work.
I remember you invited for that event book club Imphal, and that day I saw कि बहुत सारे youth clicks pictures with you, they idolize you. How does it feel that point? Like, do you feel that is it something you dreamed once and it's happening?
Actually I'm an introvert, so I like being on my own, I'm fine even if people don't know me or recognize me. So initially when I got through UPSC and people started recognizing me and knowing me, it was a bit awkward. I didn't know how to, react to it. But now I've realized that it's something which I can use for the betterment of people, and I can actually guide people and help them. So I try to see it in that way. So now I don't feel awkward meeting new people. I try to feel relaxed, and I try to make them also feel relaxed. So now I'm getting used to it. But it's always nice and also a bit scary whenever people come and they want to meet me. They say that they know me already, and it's very sweet of them. And I always feel overwhelmed, and I never take it for granted because I feel that this is just the beginning of my journey, and I really have to work hard. So every point of my life, I feel that I need to earn it, and I want to deserve, all the love and support I get from people.
As you said, like you were an introvert. Personally, I want to tell, like a lot of people think that due to podcast, I might talk very much. I can mix with a lot of people. That's I can, but down the line, I'm a guy like I have very close friend circle, and I strongly believe on keeping friend circle small and the good one. Are you that one?
Yes, definitely. I mean, because of the kind of work which we do, I mean, administration, we have to meet all sorts of people. We cannot say no. We have to allow public to come see us. And in fact, I do like meeting, meeting new people, learning from them, and, whatever way I can contribute or help, I love doing that. But at the end of the day, I like my own space. I like my small group of friends, like you said, the few people I love being with, or sometimes just being on my own, reading a book, watching a movie, spending time with my, family. So I think that's what recharges me at the end of the day. But because, you also do a lot of podcasts, you have to meet lots of people. And because we love doing certain things, we have to go out and meet people. And that makes us happy, but at the same time, what makes us feel most at home and what recharges our energy is, being on our own. I think that's a balance we have to strike, I think.
I think it's a dream for a lot of people to become an IAS officer, and you are one of them. I'm also lucky that I can do the podcast with you. Down the line, do you ever feel like this is a profession, so-called powerful profession? Do you feel yourself a powerful person?
Personally, I don't think of myself as a powerful person. Even this career or this job, which of course it's prestigious and you do get to do a lot of good things, because you're part of the administration, you can shape a lot of policies, you can implement policies, and you can do it in a way which will be inclusive, which will help people from the marginalized communities. So of course it is powerful in that sense, but I don't want it to be seen as powerful in the sense that you can wield your influence or you're above the law. I don't think you should see it that way. It's a platform for you to help other people, and as long as you are doing it in service of other people, like it's a service, it's an Indian administrative service. So it's actually the service you perform that gives you power. If you call it power, I don't know if I call it, it's a responsibility to help society. not power. But if you want to see it as power, it should be the power to do good and help more people. And whatever height of level in administration or popularity you reach, it's not worth it if you don't help more people reach that same level as you did. So I think that's how it should work.
I think this is my first time visit to any SDO office, and I saw a lot of files here and there, and you were also doing something. So what you were doing right now?
Actually, this is a revenue case.
Okay.
And in the SDO level, we do a lot of land revenue cases.
Achha.
People want to partition their land among the family. So this is basically under the law. I mean, if you have many kids and they grow up and they want to have their own land, so they want to divide their own land among themselves. Even if they say there are 5 siblings and they want to have their own plot of land, so they have to come to my office and they have to write an application, and they have to appear in front of me and say that they have no problem to divide among themselves. So this is the sort of work you do, and you help people resolve conflicts. Especially I've noticed in revenue work, I mean, families fight for land, they fight among themselves. So I try my best to solve it in the most amicable way so that everyone gets what they, what is their right. And especially I've noticed that like women, tend to be I mean, probably a long time ago, women were not given part of the land which they deserve from their parents and everything. So now women are aware of the rights. The Hindu succession law allows women to also inherit the land. So, whenever they say that women, she is a woman, so she doesn't deserve it, I always say that let her decide. If she wants it, she has the right. And if you don't give it to her, she can fight it in court also.
Yeah.
So these are the ways I think we can empower women, in all these small ways also. When they have their own land, when they have their own, financial independence, then they can stand up for themselves and they can say, this is what I deserve and this is my right, and I think they should fight for it.
Definitely, I think that's the reason, I have seen so many people loves you, and that's the feeling. But honestly speaking, there was a time when a bureaucrat or any officers, it will be like somebody aged and don't, like if you ask them 10 things, they want to reply 1, sometimes not. But with the current time, I have seen there are a lot of youth officers like you, and things change. How does it feel like? Because you need to meet a lot of people. When they come and they're like, oh, she's so young, she's like, and some kids or young girl, ma'am, I want to be like you. So this thing is changing day by day. So how does you feel that?
Yeah, initially, because Manipur is a very small society, everyone knows each other. So sometimes people come to my office and they get startled. They're, oh, you're so young, you're like my granddaughter or something. So, but at the same time, they know that just because I'm young doesn't mean I will not work, properly, or that I don't know the laws, I don't know the rules. I mean, just because I'm young doesn't mean that, I've studied well, I've gone for training, I've done all the requisite, matters to reach this place. So of course I am competent enough, so I discharge my, service properly and my conduct. So I think all along the way they've also learned to respect me, and it's very nice because you see people who are much older to you, but then they think because of the office I'm older to them. So I have people who are 5-6 years younger, older to me, calling me Iche, which means elder sister.
Okay.
It's a respectful term.
Okay.
So I mean, even though I know that they are older than me, they try to use the word Iche for someone who's older. So I think with the office comes a certain kind of maturity. People think that you're much older than you are. So it's a bit overwhelming that way. But of course, I also get a lot of younger people who want to. I mean, I had this case of a mother, and she wanted to come bring her son to my office. So I thought it was some office matter. And then later on she told me that because her son was suffering from mental depression. And it was very sad. Of course, I'm not competent enough. I haven't studied psychology to be able to solve her problem. But she just wanted to talk to me, and she wanted, her son to meet me. So she felt that I might be, able to help him in some way, which is very sweet. I talked to him, but I said in the end, if you want proper, therapy, you'll have to go to a learned psychologist, you have to go to a doctor, you have to go to a hospital. The most I can do is, listen to them. And I think in our job, most of the times, even if we can't solve them, as long as we give them our time and we listen to them, we can help them in even the smallest of ways. So I felt very heartened when they came to me that way. Even though I could not solve it completely, I felt that I could at least give them a little bit of dignity and respect when I heard their stories. So I think that's the least we can do in some sense.
There's one question always comes to my mind, like especially when I meet any young officers, that आजकल सोशल मीडिया का ज़माना है, तो we all are in all the social media platform, you also use and all the other officers use, but there are many things like we like to share in a person, as person, your personal stuff, does it bother you, कि अरे ये अगर share कर दूँगा, some people might think like she's an IAS, how can she share that? Do you fear before posting anything? Do you have that thing?
Yes, the thing with me is I don't see myself only as an IAS officer. It is, of course, a very important aspect of my life. But there are many other things which I love also, apart from just my career. I love my friends, I love my family, I love traveling, I love reading, I love writing. And I don't think you should just put one person in, that, just because you're an IAS officer, you should not do certain things. So I don't like that. But yes, a lot of people did tell me, you are an IAS officer, you should not put certain pictures because you should conform to the idea that you're very serious and sober and you do not have fun at all, you do not enjoy your life. So yes, I had many people telling me that initially, and it did bother me a little bit because I started questioning myself that should I stop living my life, my authentic, genuine life, just because people expect me to behave in a certain way all the time. So then I realized that you cannot please everyone all the time. There will always be someone saying you're doing something wrong,
Oh, it happens with you?
Yes, definitely. So I thought, okay, there will always be some people who have something to say, but I cannot please lakhs and lakhs of people. As long as I'm happy, as long as I'm not harming anyone, and as long as I'm doing my job well, I don't think it should bother anyone. So I've learned over time to, not let it bother me too much. But yes, of course, every time someone says something bad, it's human, I think, and natural to say, why do they hate me or why do they not like me? I'm not harming anyone that way.
I also strongly feel that, whatever you do in life, you cannot please all the people. You come from a bureaucratic family, your dad is currently the IG, and do you feel pressurized at certain point of time? Because like whatever you do in life, some people might say, "Arey, she got it because her dad was there." And sometimes people say like this because the hard work is not seen every time. Do you face that?
Definitely. First of all, I know I'm privileged in the sense that I had, my father is also in the police, my mother is a teacher, and they are the ones who have worked really hard in their life. They both come from very difficult families. So by the time, I was born, they already had we were already in the middle class, they could provide me a good education. So I'm very grateful for that, because they gave me the platform to be able to pursue my interests and my hobbies, and they always encourage me whenever I want to learn music or art, or I wanted to go for debates. Anyways, they always encourage me. Even when I didn't want to, I want to study history. Like at some point, people say if you are smart, intelligent, you should become a doctor. And I didn't want to, join medical. I wanted to do something else. My parents say, okay, if you love it, you pursue it. So they never gave me that kind of pressure. So they were very understanding that way. So at the same, yes, I am privileged. I have been fortunate enough to have parents to be able to help me, pursue whatever I wanted. But at the same time, I've also had to work really hard. It hasn't come to me like on a platter. We don't come from a very rich family.
So things are not spoon feeding?
No, definitely not. I went to boarding school at a very young age. I went to boarding school in class 6. So I had to study on my own, learn on my own. I had to fight for everything on my own, There was no one to tell me that just because your father, nobody knew what my father was in boarding school, And then I went to college and I got through Stephens based on my own marks and my own, hard work on my own interviews. So it's not like my father was there telling me, telling other people that choose her, get her into this. And of course, my father cannot make UPSC take me if I haven't worked hard enough.
But some people, think like that.
Yes, people do. I mean, of course, I acknowledge the fact that my parents have, given me a lot. And I mean, without their help and support, I wouldn't be here. I know that. I definitely know that. But I've also had to contribute, on my part as well.
As you were talking that if things were not sorted as people think, you saw failure in life, and moreover how you overcame that situation.
Yeah, so when I was a very not sickly, but I was not a very strong kid, physically as a child. So in boarding school we had to play a lot of games, and the most popular kids were the ones who played a lot of games and sports and went for trekking and everything. So initially I used to hate, when we were forced to play sports and games, I used to hate it. And then I realized that I have to become strong, and that's how I started this whole yoga and exercising, So and even when I was in Labasna, I was top 10 runners, among the girls. So that's how, from a person who could barely walk a few kilometers, I was so weak, to where I am today. I feel that, I faced the failure in the sense that I was weak, physically weak. But then I decided, that I have to become fitter, I have to become stronger. And I think by sheer will, when you have that willpower, that I have to become better than what I am, and I have to show to myself and to everyone around that, I can also be strong. So that has, I think, proven that even though I might not, become a professional athlete or anything, I think it has shown me that, you are stronger than you really think you are, and you can always improve.
You mean we all need to prove ourselves every time?
Yes, I think not to other people, but I think to yourself. I think if you feel that you are lacking in some way, I think you can always try to improve. Yeah, that way.
Yeah. Ma'am, when I was coming, I saw your office. It was full of greenery and so beautiful things. Can we just go for a round?
Definitely, let's go.
So this is your whole office. Can you just tell me which department?
This is actually the DC Imphal West complex. And the SDO office, like my SDO Lumphel office, is this part. And actually there are many other offices. The Women's Commission, the State Election Commission office is also here. Then we have the Lokayukta coming up that side. So a lot of offices are located inside this complex.
There's always one question I ask to all the officers, because we go through a lot of failures in life. Life is all about ups and downs. But being a youth, I want to ask, there's a concept that a lot of people don't want to talk. That's called breakup, and breakup has a different force. Moreover, any sort of failures, but to channelize that force, channelize that ego, make someone successful. How do you see that?
I think, we should realize that setbacks, failures, breakups, unhappiness, it's all a part of life. And it's inevitable, it's going to happen no matter how rich you are, how successful you are, how happy you are. So we should always take that in our stride. And we should realize that we can always learn from it, even if it's a bad breakup, or if you went through, even if it's between two friends, or regarding a relationship, something happened between the two of you, and now you're unhappy about it. Of course you'll feel unhappy about it, but you have to try to understand and reflect what went wrong. Why? Was it your fault? Was it the other's fault? In most cases, it's the fault of both the people. You must have also done something. The other person must have also aggravated it. So when you try to analyze your own, flaws, and you try to correct them and try to move on, I think you can become a better person that way. I think the point of life is to learn from every failure in our lives. be it setbacks in school, in whether it's exams or whether it's breakups. So breakups is very personal, it's a very personal hurt. I know how it feels to be young and to go through a bad breakup. So it's definitely going to, I think, almost every person would have experienced it by now. And how to channelize that towards doing something more productive, because when you're young you feel restless and hurt, and try to channelize that hurt to maybe say your art, or music, or creativity such as a podcast, so you can always use that restlessness, that anxiety, that hurt towards something beautiful. And I think when you do that, then that's how you also learn to heal. So I think we can use that.
I think that's gonna be an inspiration for a lot of people. Agar मान लो, if you get a time machine and you can go back to 15 years back down the line, is there anything that you want to change in your life?
No, I mean, I really like the way my
Are you happy like what's happening?
Yes, I'm definitely quite happy with my life. That doesn't mean that I haven't had problems or issues or failures, but I think I've always learned something or the other along the way, and I've tried to improve and become better. So I don't regret anything, and I'm happy with the way things have been.
As we are going back to the office now, I think in life there are a lot of situations which you also see, we all see that there are points when we need to walk back. And in your profession, administrative profession, there are a lot of stuffs you go through. Yes. Can you share any of such situations where things were against you and you need to walk back, because it said when you walk back, you jump stronger. Yeah. You faced that?
Yes, I think especially in issues like law and order, one thing I've realized is when the public is angry about some issue, even though that what they are angry about might be baseless, and they might have been misinformed about a certain situation, you also have to try to empathize, because you cannot reason with a big crowd when they are angry. So I faced an agitation once. I will not tell you the entire detail, but I faced an agitation once, and the crowd was very angry. And I knew that no matter, if I told them that, you have to calm down, or you can't do this, they will not agree. And it will actually become even greater law and order issues. So I decided that the best way would be actually to let them hold their rally, but make sure that they do it peacefully. Make sure that they do not harm anyone or burn down anyone or throw stones. So sometimes I realize in our line of work, we have to compromise. You don't have enough, machinery, or you don't have enough officials to stop something from happening, especially when there is a huge crowd and that it will get out of hand if you stop it completely. It might actually lead to deaths or people getting hurt. So in order to avoid anyone getting harmed, I felt that it's okay to let them allow to go, say, 1 kilometer for a rally. Tell them that you have to stop by this time and at this place, but at the same time you make sure you manage the situation. So I think you have to take maybe sometimes 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and it's all right as long as nobody's getting hurt and nobody's getting harmed, physically harmed, or nobody's getting shot at, or nobody's falling. As long as everyone is intact, I think you can do that. I think we have to think about everyone and not just one person, or so to calm down a situation, I think we have to walk back sometimes.
Mostly when, like you were telling the story, like when situations are mostly against you, what's your go-to? Like there are people who loves music, who listen songs, who like sit silent. What's your go-to to refresh yourself?
I love reading, so that's something I always go back to. Even
I think from there that book club Imphal came. If you can share something that also.
Yes, so book club Imphal was an initiative. Actually, reading is a very solitary activity. It's something which you do on your own. But then I started posting about the books I was reading on social media, and a lot of people started asking me, please recommend me books, or I love the book which you share. So I thought, why not have a club where we can share our interests, we can talk about our, love for music and art and poetry and books, and we actually learn from each other. So that was the idea behind Book Camp Imphal, and we have done a lot of activities. We have had quizzes. You know, we have actually, organized UPSC seminar. We just had an art and photography exhibition. So this has been great so far. I've met such amazing young kids, and they are so smart. I mean, I think I have learned more from them than they have learned from me. So it's wonderful being part of something like that.
So I won't take much of your time. You have a busy schedule. So let's end it here and we'll see you all soon.